Hey, welcome everybody. This is CP Cards and Dice, and you're joining a presentation of the 1969 Mets. This is a May 2nd game between the Cubs and the Mets. It's going to be Kenny Holtzman for the Cubs. He's a left-hander, 17-13 with a 3.58 ERA. Started 39 games, completed 12, so he completes one out of every four approximately. Gary Gentry, 35 games started, 13-12 with a 3.43 ERA. So I believe the edge goes to, pitching-wise, goes to the Mets in this one, but that's not written in stone. Remember, this is your home for chat, tutorials, strategy, player profiles, history reviews, news, tips, unboxings, top baseball cards, and rants periodically. And we have a Topps baseball card of Gary Gentry for the Mets in his 1969 season. It's a 1970 baseball card. We're using the Payoff pitch gaming system. One of my favorite systems, if not my favorite, perhaps. To tell, I play a few different ones. Cards are outstanding. I mean, top quality cards, and we're going to protect. Let's stadium crowd is in the house now. And we are going to protect Kenny Holtzman using the Ultra Pro card sleeve protectors. Those are very, oh wait, he is protected. Okay, there you go. We can do our leadoff hitter, Kessinger. We'll protect him. He's at the top, and that's kind of when you grab the cards, you grab him at the top. And the way you play payoff pitches, you roll 2d6, and that's going to designate a type of pitch, which equates to an area. They have four main areas here. You have the wheelhouse, the patient, the tough, or the in play, and then you have the out section. So it'll kind of designate, off the pitcher card, designates where on the batter card you're going to look. Periodically, for defense and range checks and home runs, you're going to look at the ballpark card. So it's kind of a triad system. This is a chartless game, 99% chartless, particularly if you use the fast action deck. Fast action deck is, is a must for anyone that wants to avoid charts and constant charts and constant calculations. I like to streamline a lot of what goes on in the game. That's how I prefer to play. So, and I don't use a lot of these cards. I don't have to do a lot of shuffling because you only use them for range and defense pretty much. And then for, of course, at base advancement, sacrifice bunts and stealing. Don't use them for the numbers. I'm rolling that today. Let's get started with the lineup for the Mets. We are in Wrigley Field in Chicago. It's going to be Tommy Agee. He is back. He was away for a while, I guess, on the injured list. He's back, batting .263. Kenny Boswell, batting second at second base, .316. Rod Gasper, the right fielder, batting third at .250. Cleon Jones, the first baseman, at .380. Batting fourth. And batting fifth is Ed Charles. He's back as well. He's been struggling since the beginning of the year, batting .121. He's batting fifth. Batting sixth is Ronnie Swoboda at .232, but he's got 8 RBIs. He's in left field. Batting seventh is Jerry Cody, the catcher, at .271. And Al Weiss is filling in for Buddy Harrelson today at shortstop, batting .182, batting eighth. And batting ninth is the catcher, Gary Gentry. And let's get started. Kenny Holtzman looks in for the sign. It's Randy Hundley behind the plate for the Cubs. Tommy Agee. That's an 8. It's a tough pitch, a tough 33 off a lefty, and that's going to be strike 3. High heat gets Tommy Agee. Kenny Boswell next. Lefty versus lefty. That's 5. That's a patient. 67 off a lefty. And that's a bouncer to the shortstop. Throws over. 2 down. see what's going on here. Hold on a second. Rod Gasper now steps into the box. Here's the pitch from Holtzman. A patient 33. And that's going to be popped up left side. Shortstop Kessinger. It's pop 6, and that retires the side. We're using the Replay Baseball computer game to keep track of, to play out all our other teams, keep track of league stats and standings, and to track our rosters. They have updated rosters per game, and to keep track of everything we don't want to spend time keeping track of, because time is precious and it's hard to do that. Salvador America, welcome, my friend. Good to see you stopping by. It's always nice. Don Kessinger, he's a switch hitter batting 284 versus righties. So here's the pitch from Gary Gentry. No score on the bottom of the first 7. That's an in-play 31. And that's going to be line base hit. Gasper cuts it off and gets it in quickly. It's a single. And Kessinger's on at first. Now, Kessinger's not a threat. Oh, we had 11 stolen bases. Let's try to get a lead for Kessinger. We're looking at a 4. And we do get a 4. So Kessinger is going to take off. And Grody, I believe, is a 3. Oh, no, he's a 2. Kessinger is a C. So that's going to be a fair. We're going to pull a card. We're going to look at stolen base fair. And he's out. So Jerry Grody, quick release, shows off the cannon and throws out Don Kessinger. Now let's see that. Let's find that here. C. That was a what? Beckert is a righty, so that was the second baseman covering. So it's a 2-4. Caught stealing. Nobody on, 1 out. Glenn Beckert versus righties batted 284. Same as Kessinger. Here's a pitch from Gentry. That's a defensive card, so we're going to pull defense. It's going to say range center field. Agee out there in center, I believe, and he is. And he is a decent range. He's a C. 1 to 47 is going to drop in there for a hit. We roll an 85, and racing in, that's line center field. Racing in is Agee and makes a nice catch, nice sliding catch by Tommy Agee in center. For out number 2, Billy Williams, patient, 69, and that's a bouncer to short. Across the diamond goes Weiss, and gets Williams by half a step. Go top of the second. Cleon Jones. Cleon Jones batting 380. That's 9. Patient, a 70. And that's a fly ball center field. Moving over for it is Young. He's there. Makes the catch. 1 down. Mets have lost 2 in a row. Don't have their record up here, but if I go to the box score, it may show their record. Let's quickly take a peek. Yeah, the Mets are 12-9. In reality, I think they're like 9-12. The Cubs are behind the Mets. They're 11-12. I think the team with the best record in the East, I believe, is the Pirates. So Ed Charles hasn't been around for a couple weeks. 6, that's a tough 93. And that's a fly ball lifted to shallow left. Billy Williams comes over, makes the catch. 2 down. Kenny Holtzman to Ron Swoboda, right-handed batter. 8, tough 52. Tough 52 is a swing and a miss, and that retires the side. So Swoboda strikes out, and we go to the bottom half of the second inning. It's going to be Ron Santo, Ernie Banks, and Randy Hudley. Here's the pitch from Gary Gentry. That snake eye is a tough 88, and that's a ground ball to short. Easy hop for Weiss. Fires to first. Gets his man, one down. Ernie Banks. Patient 24. And that's driven in the gap. That's going to split the outfielders. Swoboda and Agee converge towards the wall. And stopping at second is Ernie Banks with a one-out double. So that was a patient 24 off a righty. And Banks is on at second with a two-bagger. Randy Hudley next versus righties. He's about a 241, hit 13 home runs. All right, here's the pitch. That's ballpark. Ballpark 98 is going to be in play. The ballpark for a righty only goes up to 52, so we're looking at in play. We're only 77. And that's a fly ball center field. On the run is Agee in the gap and runs it down. Scampering back to second, is Banks. He waited halfway. Was unsure whether Agee was going to catch that, but he respects Agee's range out there, so he played it right. So that's going to be an F8. And with two outs now, it's the lefty Al Spangler. Spangler versus righties batted 204. Played mostly versus righties. Only had 7 at-bats versus lefties. That's a 7 in play, 27. In play, 27. That is a comebacker to Gentry. Stabs it. Flips to Jones, who's playing first today. And that retires the side. That's going to be a 1-3. Jerry Grody up next. Here's the pitch from Holtzman. Top of the third, no score, 5. A patient 92. That's a fly ball to left. One down. Next is Al Weiss. Patient 25. And that's going to be ball 4. 3-1 pitch high outside. So actually, we did an 8. It should be base on balls. So I'm there. So Weiss is on at first, and you have Gary Gentry. Gentry is a 3-pitcher hitting card, and he is a C bunter. So we're going to play in for the bunt. We're going to pull a card here, see if he can going to become a D. And a D is a successful sacrifice. Slow roller between the pitcher and the third baseman. Holtzman picks it up, fires to first, and moving to second is Al Weiss, sacrifice hit. Tommy Agee now. Top of the third. 2 outs, and the Mets have a runner in scoring position. Let's see what Tommy Agee can come up with. In play 44 against a lefty, and that's going to be a ground ball. Foul ball, Tommy Agee. The pitch from Holtzman pops it up to the right side. And that's going to retire the side. We go to Don Young in the bottom of the third. Gary Gentry, the pitch 8, patient 90. It's a ground ball up the middle, and Weiss gets there. The spin-a-rama and throws him out at first. 6-3. Pitcher next, Kenny Holtzman is a 6-pitcher batting card. That's a tough 59. That's strike 3, 2 outs. Don Kessinger. Six is tough, 96. And that's lifted to left field. Back goes Charles and Weiss. In comes Swoboda, and Swoboda calls him off at the last minute. F7. Go to Kenny Boswell in the top of the fourth. No score here in Chicago. 10 in play, 0-0. That's going to pull a defensive card. That's the way I play that. I don't go to – there's a lot of errors in that rare play event. and I avoid all those errors by just going to potential error first base. So we're going to roll. The first baseman is actually Mr. Cub, and he is pretty good, above average first baseman from what I remember. Yeah, he is. It's not easy to make an error, and that's a great play by Banks, and he's gonna race Boswell to the bag, and Banks gets there. Nice play by Ernie Banks at first base, flashing the leather. That's gonna be a 3 unassisted. Boswell out. And that's a 10, which is in play, 96 against a lefty. That's a fly ball driven in the gap. Billy Williams, and he gets there. F7. Cleon Jones, 2 outs. Top of the 4th. A tough 16, and that's strike 3, and that retires the side. 3 up, 3 down for Kenny Holtzman. Glenn Becker. Pitch from Gentry. Ballpark 34. So that's going to be Wheelhouse. Wheelhouse, we're looking at 1 to 30. No home runs there. And that's not going to do it. It's going to be a ground ball third base. Charles backhands it. Long throw to first and in time. Nice play by Charles. Been out of action for a while, but must have been taking a lot of ground balls in practice. It should be Billy Williams. Or did I not do that? Yeah, I did not write in the. Hold on a second. I didn't do the Beckard out, which was a fly to left. Let me just the Beckard out. Let's see, undo play. Yeah, let me do the. And it's Ron Santo with 2 outs. 8, that's a patient 24. And that's ball 4. 3-2 pitch high. Inside. And Ron Santos on it first. Ron Santos not going to be going anywhere, staying close to the bag. Ernie Banks. Pitch to Banks. It's a tough 91. And that's line and caught. Weiss right there. So that's an L6, L6. And that's going to retire the side. It's Ed Charles leading off the top of the 5th, no score. Pitch from Holtzman, that's a tough 45. And that's going to be strike 3. So Ed Charles goes fishing. Ball in the dirt. 9, patient 33. And that's ball 4. So Ron Swoboda is on at first. Hold on a second. Let's see what's going on here. All right, so we got nobody on. Ed Charles strikes out. Ball 4 for Swoboda. Wait a second. So Swoboda walks. Now it's Grody. Let's do that. Swoboda. And then it's, it's. All right. So Swoboda walks. Let me undo that. Because it's all right. Because I got Swoboda up at the plate. I got 1 out, nobody on. The next batter is I have Grody on up at the plate on one page, and then I have Swoboda up at the plate on the other page. So let's undo that. Okay, I think I fixed it. I believe I fixed it. Try that again. Aha, fixed it. All right. Jerry Grody up with Swoboda on at first and 1 out. Here's the pitch to Grody. 6, tough, a tough 60. And that's a fly ball right field. Spangler towards the line, hooking, and he's there. Nice play by Spangler. That's an F9. So Grody goes the other way. 2 outs, and it's Al Weiss. Here's the pitch, and that's foul back, a souvenir for a lucky fan. That's a 7 in play, 12. An in play versus a lefty, 12, and that's going to be a ground ball up the middle and through, and Swoboda is going to head over to third base. I believe he's a 6 or better, and he is. That's an S+, and that sends Swoboda to third. Oh, I guess not. Oh, wait, I have to hit the enter button. Still learning the hotkeys. That's why there's it's a little bumpy here and there on this. No score, runners on first and third. That is the first hit for the Mets. That Al Weiss hit. And it's going to be Gary Gentry now. Gary Gentry is a 3-pitcher hitting card. Here's the pitch from Holtzman to Gentry. Oh, that's grounded foul to the left side. 9, patient, a patient 92. And that is a fly ball. Left field, Billy Williams is there, puts it away, and that retires the side. Mets leave 2, score none, and at the end of 4.5, no score. Randy Huntley leading it off against Gentry. That's an 8. An 8 is patient. A 62 is a ground ball, second base. 1 away. Spangler, the batter. Can't pick up the dice. Snake Eyes, tough. A tough 27, and that is strike 3. Spangler. Oh, wait a second. No, that's not. That's foul tipped. Foul tipped. Gary Gentry. 0-1 count. Gary Gentry with the pitch, and that's a ground ball into right field for a base hit. So a single for Spangler. He's on at first, and no speed there. Don Young. A lot of Dons back in the 60s. I knew a Don back in the 60s when I was a kid. Friend of the family, his name was Don Baker. 7. And that's going to be in play, 36 in play. And that's popped up left side, Charles, towards the stands, and makes the catch, and that retires the side. Oh, excuse me, 2 outs, and Kenny Holtzman comes up. Spangler on at first, 2 outs, no score, bottom of the 5th. Here's the pitch from Gentry. That's ballpark, 73. And that is in play, 81, off of a 6-pitcher hitting card. In play, 81. That's going to be a ground ball. Shortstop, Weiss flips to Boswell, and that retires the side. Tommy Agee leading it off for the Mets in the top of the 6th. Again, another pitcher's duel, 1969 pitcher's duel. Tommy Agee. It's 11 ballpark. Ballpark 32 is going to be wheelhouse. So Kenny Holtzman puts one in Tommy Agee's wheelhouse in a scoreless game, and that's a deep drive to right field. And Tommy Agee goes the other way, drives it over the fence, home run. And the Mets are up 1-0 on that Tommy Agee home run to lead off the top of the 6th inning. Wouldn't expect it for Tommy Agee to drive it in the opposite field, but he sure did. And the Mets lead at 1-0. So he's making his presence known after being out for a couple of weeks. Tommy Agee comes back. He's a home run leader for the Mets. Kenny Boswell steps in the box. Lefty versus lefty. That's wheelhouse, 58. And that is a fly ball deep left field. Back goes Williams to the track and makes the catch. F7. Rod Gasper. Mets are up 1-0 on the Tommy Agee home run here in the top of the sixth. That's a 10 in play 37. That's a ground ball. Banks. Will he take it himself? I don't know. 1-2, and he flips to the pitcher, or he takes it himself. So it's a 3-U. 2 down. And Cleon Jones. Right-handed batter. Got 338 versus lefty. It's a 6. That's a tough 35. And that is line drive. Base hit. Center field. Young plays it on a hop. Gets it into Beckert. Jones is on with a single. Cleon Jones. And it's Ed Charles. 2 out, 1 on. Jones is going to try to get a lead. Let's see, just for fun. 5. I don't think 5 is going to do it. I think he's a 4. He is a 4, so he doesn't get the lead. And it's Ed Charles, 6. Tough 40. And that's strike 3. And that retires the side. We go to the bottom half of the 6th inning. Gary Gentry. Pitching a 3-hitter. 3-hit shutout for Gentry. Don Kessinger, 7. That's in play 78. And that's lifted to center. 1 down. Next is Glenn Beckert, second baseman. Wheelhouse, 84. It's a bouncer to shortstop. Weiss throws him out. Williams, tough, 51. Tough 51, and that's a bouncer in the hole. Charles gets to it. Long throw and gets Williams at first. Ed Charles has made a couple of nice plays here today. Top of the 7th, 1-0 Mets. Ronnie Swoboda. Kenny Holtzman versus Ronnie Swoboda. That's a 9. That's a patient 95. That's lifted to left center field. Young and Williams converge, and Young takes it. Jerry Grody. Ballpark, 57. And that's right outside of ballpark range, so we're going to go into in play at 24, and in play 24, and that's line base hit left field. Williams cuts it off, gets it in, and Grody's on with a single. Al Weiss. Three is defense. We're going to pull a card for that. It's going to say error third base. Our third baseman is Santo, and he's an error 3. So we're looking at a 1-53. We roll an 89. So he makes the play, and that's popped up. Santo in foul ground makes the catch. 2 down, 2 out. Grody's on at first. Gary Gentry, the batter. It's a 3-pitcher hitting card. That's a tough 30, and that is not going to be a wild pitch. Anything in the low 30s, you got to check for the wild pitch. That's a tough 30, and that's going to be strike 3, and that retires the side. Mets lead 1 score, none, and at the end of 6.5, you got 1-0 Mets. Ron Santo leading it off against Gary Gentry. An 8 is a patient 0-7. Patient 0-7, that's ball 4. Walks him on 4 pitches. So there's going to be some action in the Mets bullpen right now. Ron Santo on at first. Not really a speedster. Ernie Banks is up next. So for a patient 70. And that's going to be a potential double play, and that's what we need right now. This is a 6 or less. 6 or less. Oh, and it's a 9, so it's going to be a fielder's choice on a 70. That's a 4-6 fielder's choice. 1 down. Banks on at first. Doesn't have much of a lead. Randy Hundley. 5, tough out. 27. Strike 3. Big strikeout for Gary Gentry. 2 outs, bottom of the 7th. 1 on. 1-0, Mets lead it. Al Spangler, left-handed batter. That's 204 versus righties, 9. That's a potential ballpark, 0-2. That's going to take us into the wheelhouse. Wheelhouse against righties is 1-23. 24-27 is a double. So anything from 1-27 is probably going to tie up this game. Let's see what Banks is running. If he's a 6, yep, he is a 6. So he'll score on a double. All right, so we want to roll higher than 27 if you're a Met fan. Let's see what we do here. And that's a 95, so that makes us happy. A 95, that's going to be a fly ball. Deep right field, Gasper in the gap, and runs it down, and that retires the side. So Spangler gave it a ride, but didn't get enough of it. Tommy Agee leading it off. Top of the 8th. Kenny Holtzman checks for the sign, sets and deals, and that's foul back. Again, the pitch to Agee. It's an 11. That's ballpark. A 67 is going to be in play, unfortunately. He could hit his second home run there. An 18 is line base hit to left field. Second hit of the day for Tommy Agee, back from a stint on the injury list. So Tommy Agee singles, and he's on at first. Kenny Boswell is going to try hit and run. There goes Agee. That's a 9. Patient, 68. You have to pull. This is the first look at the chart here, because the patient, you got to check the chart. You roll a 68 on the chart. 68 on the chart is going to be ground ball to hit and run is successful. 6-3 hit and run. Agee's on at second base. Rod Gasper now. Pitch from Holtzman. Oh, that's pull foul. Fouled off again, 0-2 the count. That's a 7 in play. Where are we? 7 in play, 80 in play. 80 is a ground ball to the shortstop. And on this, we're going to roll for this. Going to roll for this, a 10-sided die. Let's see if we have one here. 10-sided die, 1-4. He goes to third, and it's a 2, so he moves over to third. So it's in the hole. Kessinger with a long throw and gets the out at first, but Agee moves over to third. 40% chance that runners move to third base on the ground ball, especially if they're fast runners. And Agee, I think, is a 7. He's an 8, actually. He's top of the line speed. Not really speed and payoff pitch. It's mostly base running ability. There is a good pitcher's duel, my friend. It's 1-0, 2 outs. Mets have Agee at third base, and Cleon Jones, their top hitter, is at the plate, and they're going to walk Cleon Jones. I mean, Cleon Jones is batting .380. They're not. I think he leads the league in hitting, or is in the top 5. So they're not going to pitch to Cleon Jones here. They're just going to walk. So Jones gets the free pass, and now it's Charles. Charles hasn't been around. Charles is batting .125, hasn't been around a while. He's been on the injured list as well. Mets have had some injuries here early on, but they still have a respectable record at 12-9. 6 games better than they had in actuality, and that attests to my ability as a manager. Not to toot my own horn or to over-celebrate myself. Ed Charles, Kenny Holtzman. Holtzman looks in for the sign. 2 outs, 2 on, 1-0 Mets. Mets could really use an insurance run right here, so it's all on the shoulders of Ed Charles. Can he come up big or not? That's a 5. That's patient. Patient 40 against a lefty, and that's line base hit, and that's going to split the gap. That's going to roll to the wall. Around to score is Agee. Right behind him is Jones. And Ed Charles comes up huge after missing about 10 games with a clutch 2-out, 2-on double. And this drives in 2. The Mets lead it 3-0. And boy, Ed Charles, we really missed you. Now, the 1969 trade deadline was June 15th. And from that point on, the Mets get Don Clendenin, who's going to be primarily their cleanup guy. And he has a very respectable power numbers for 1969 with the Mets. I should have his card here. Don Clendenin. Clendenin's stats with the Mets, in 200 at-bats, hits 12 home runs. So he would have had 36 home runs during the course of a whole 600 at-bat season. So, he comes up huge for the Mets, and once they get him in the middle of that lineup, he bats .318 from the left side, only .202 against righties. So he bats against lefties, he bats .318, so he'll be big against lefties. And his at-bats are pretty much 50-50. But he'll help us in the power department, and that's going to be huge. So that's what the Mets need here. It's a little bit more offense. Their pitching is keeping them in all the games, but it's the offense that's kind of holding them back. Kenny Holtzman now, 3-0 Mets, top of the eighth, 2 outs. Kenny Holtzman to Ron Swoboda. Ed Charles is on at second base with a clutch 2-run double, allowing the Mets a little bit of breathing room here in the top of the eighth. 6, a tough 22. And that is strike 3, and Swoboda strikes out, and that retires the side. Gary Gentry against Don Young. We're going to see Don Young and then a pinch hitter. Going to start pulling a pinch hitter already. And then we're going to need a pitcher as well. Abernathy's going to be the pitcher. Pinch hitter, that's a good one. Let's take a quick peek and see what was going on with the Mets and the Cubs in terms of the pinch hitting department. Reagan was another pitcher for the Cubs. Phil Reagan, I remember him with the Dodgers, and he today is still in baseball. He's an 82, 83-year-old pitching coach for the Mets in New York. Cubs, who were they using to pinch hit? They were using Gene Oliver, Manny Jimenez, and Will Smith. Gene Oliver, Manny Jimenez, and Will Smith. Let's pull all those guys. Nate Oliver. Nate Oliver? What did I say? I think I said Gene Oliver. I don't know why I said that. Oh, it is Gene Oliver, so not Nate Oliver. Is that the same? I wonder if that's the same player. Or there's 2 Olivers. Will Smith. That's interesting. So I only have 1 Oliver, so I don't know if he's Gene Oliver or Nate Oliver. Oh, wait, it's Gene Oliver. Okay. That's weird. And the other guy was, there's, 2 Olivers. And then Adolfo Phillips is another one, and Jimenez. So you get almost every card. You get every card. What am I saying? You get almost every card. You get every card when you buy Payoff Pitch. I put a little extra in, so I get the official fringe players in the top of the line card stock that he makes. Manny Jimenez is there. Okay, so I got everybody I need. So let's go. It's going to be Don Young against Gary Gentry. That's a 7. There's action in the Mets bullpen. There's a righty and a lefty out there. In play, 12. And against a righty, that's going to be line base hit for Don Young. So he's on at first. Let's have a little bit more breathing room right now. And it's going to be Manny Jimenez going to pinch hit. So Jimenez comes in to pinch hit. Here's the pitch to Jimenez. It's a 5, tough out, 56. That's strike 3. So Jimenez strikes out on the curveball. Don Kessinger, 1 out, 1 out, bottom of the 8th. That's a 6, tough, a tough 92. And that's a fly ball left field. A few steps back for Swoboda. He makes the catch, 2 down. Glenn Becker. An 8 is patient, 58. And that's a ground ball second base. Boswell handles it easily, and that retires the side. New pitcher for the Cubs. It's going to be Ted Abernathy. Going to face Jerry Grody. That's a 6 in play, 25. And that's a line drive base hit. Jerry Grody's on with a single. Al Weiss, 9, patient, 97. And that's lifted to left. Shallow left, Billy Williams in. Better hurry, gets there. It's a F7. And we're going to get a pinch hitter for the Mets. Pinch hitter for the Mets is going to be Wayne Garrett. So Garrett comes in to pinch hit for Gentry. So Gentry, this concludes his night. Goes 8 innings, allows no runs, 4 hits. Gary Gentry. Wayne Garrett. 1 on, 1 out. That's a 6 in play, 35. And an in play 35 versus a righty is a comebacker to Abernathy. Abernathy's going to try for the double play. And we're looking at a 5 or less, and no, it's not. So Abernathy goes to second for 1, and Grody goes in hard like a catcher is known to do and breaks it up. So Garrett is on at first. Garrett had 4 stolen bases. Let's see if 3. Nope, not going to get it. So no lead for Garrett. And it's Tommy Agee, who's been the star so far with a home run and a single. Tommy Agee, 7. In place, 90. And that's ground ball, shortstop. Kessinger, long throw, and gets Agee, and that retires the side. Go to bottom of the 9th. We're going to bring in Ron Taylor for the Mets. Ronnie Taylor. No, you know what? We're going to bring in Tug McGraw. Let's do Tug McGraw. They're facing Billy Williams as the first up. So Billy Williams against Tug McGraw. Let's find Tug McGraw. There he is. And let's find Tug McGraw's card in our collection of 1970 Mets. Let's see what he looked like in 1970. There he is. Tug McGraw. We're going to protect him because we pull those out a lot, and that's a 1970 card, man. You don't want to rough these up. Look at that. Gorgeous. There he is. Tug McGraw. What did Tug McGraw do? 9-3 with a 2.24 ERA. So this guy is lights out. This is the guy you want up right here facing Bill Williams. This is the guy you want on the bump facing Billy Williams right here. Bottom of the 9th. 8. Tough. 55. And Williams is hard to strike out. So he's going to lift that to left field. Swoboda's there. 1 out. Ron Santo next. Mets 3-0. Top of the 9th. 7. Tough. 46. Against a lefty. And that's going to be ground ball up the middle and through into center field for a base hit. So a single for Santo. Ernie Banks is next. Oh, 3-0 Mets. 1 on, 1 out. That's an 8 tough. A tough 0-0. That's going to be a rare play. Rare play. And we're going to roll 2d6 and add them. It's a 7, so it's a ballpark check. Reroll 2d10 ballpark check. If result is in wheelhouse, so let's do that. Wheelhouse is going to be against a righty 1 to 52, and 51 we do get a wheelhouse. So if result is in wheelhouse range, roll to see the batter's wheelhouse section. Otherwise, it's a fly ball and runners advance 1 base. Okay. And a 45 against a lefty. That's a deep drive to left field. Back goes Swoboda to the track, to the wall. Gone. 3-2. Cubs. Ernie Banks connects on a Tug McGraw curveball and drives it into left center, over the left center field fence for 2 runs here. And that brings the Cubs within a run here in the bottom of the 9th inning with only 1 out. So 2-run shot for Ernie Banks. And let's check and see. That is Banks' 5th home run of the season. And it's going to be Randy Hundley now. So Tug McGraw better proceed with caution against Randy Hundley, who's got good power against lefties. Oh, that's pulled foul. That's an 8. That's tough. A tough 55, and that's line base hit to left. So Hundley singles. Tying run is now at first base. And Hundley runs pretty well, so we're going to keep him in there. Spangler. Here's the pitch to Spangler. That's tough. A tough 57. And that's going to be, oh my goodness gracious. A tough 57. And a tough 57 turns into a runner, a short blooper into short right field, drops in front of Gasper. And Hundley's going to move to third, first and third, with 1 out. Tying run is on a third base. Man, maybe we should have never brought in Tug McGraw and should have let Gary Gentry finish it off. So it's a 3-2 ball game here in the bottom of the ninth. The Cubs have the tying run and Hundley at third base. Don Young, the batter, against Tug McGraw. So the Mets are going to be forced to play the infield in. We need a big strikeout here by Tug McGraw. Here's the pitch. That's 11. That's defense. Uh-oh. Range pitcher. The pitcher range is actually pretty good. He's a B range, 1-36. So he gets to the ball. Pitcher gets to the ball. But the infield's in. So he's going to go to first. And Hundley's going to hold at third. And let me double check that. Infield in. Yeah, this throws off the whole. Well, what did we roll here? We rolled an 11. Okay. If base is loaded, no. Or less than 6 or less, that didn't happen. Batter out at first. Okay. If base is not loaded or 7 or more, see below. So we're going to have to roll 2d6 on this. See what happens. We don't want to roll a 9 or a 10 or the game is tied. We roll an 8. So runner on third is out at home. Batter safe. So that's huge. So Hundley decides on a comebacker to McGraw, decides to try to score at home. McGraw fires it to the catcher, Grody with a tag, and he is called out at home, and that's going to be 2 outs. It's going to be a fielder's choice, 1-2. Out at home, and I don't have any 1s-2 here, so I'm going to have to draw that up myself in something called detail. So it's going to be a fielder's choice. It's going to be pitcher to catcher. Batter on third is out at home. Okay, we got first and second, Abernathy. The pitcher's going to get called back, and we're going to bring in a pinch hitter. And we need so Don Young hits a comebacker to McGraw, and at third base, Hundley thinks he's going to score and gets thrown out at the plate. So that was pretty exciting. That helps out the Mets big time, but we're still not out of trouble. Still, the tying run is at second base. So Gene Oliver, he's a right-hander. He's coming in to pinch hit. He actually pinch hit in this game. So we're using the actual lineups pretty much within reason. Gene Oliver, 3-2 ball game. Tying run is at second base. Tug McGraw looks in for the sign. 2 outs, 2 on. And here's the pitch from McGraw. A 7 is tough. A tough 83. And against a lefty is strike 3 and game over. Tug McGraw comes up huge after, practically losing the lead here in the bottom of the ninth inning. The big hit was that 2-run homer by Ernie Clutch Banks, Mr. Cub. But the Mets hold on by barely hold on. And pinch hitter Gene Oliver strikes out for out number 3, and that retires the side. Game over. Let's see. The win goes to Gary Gentry. He improves his record to 3 and run. Kenny Holtzman gets the loss. He's 2-4. Tug McGraw picks up his 3rd save MVP is going to be Gary Gentry, who, I mean, he pitched 8 innings of, I believe, 4-hit ball. Let's look and see if there's any other mentionables for the Yanks. I mean, for the Mets, Tommy Agee came back from a long stint on the injured list and went 2 for 5, raised his average to 279, hit his 5th home run of the year. Kenny Boswell went 0 for 4. That's unusual. He's batting 300. Cleon Jones went 1 for 3. He's batting 378. Ed Charles had a huge double, a 2-run double, big, and that was in the top of the 8th inning with 2 outs. Jerry Grody had 2 hits. He improved his batting average to 286. And Al Weiss got over the Mendoza line. He's at 214 with a 1 for 3 day. And Gary Gentry, again, was lights out, pitched a 4-hit shutout for 8 innings, walked 2, struck out 3, faced 29 batters, lowered his ERA to 1.42. So Gary Gentry is really leading the Mets pitching corps, starting pitching in the first month of the season. Tug McGraw picked up his 3rd save, pitched 1 inning, allowed 4 hits. He struggled. 2 earned runs. He had a hard time. Luckily for him, he didn't walk anybody, but the big hit was that Ernie Banks home run with 1 out, 1 on in the bottom of the 9th inning. And that brought the Cubs within 1 run. There were no balks, no wild pitches, intentional walk, Holtzman 1, Jones, Cleon Jones, no-hit batsman. Time of game was, I think, 2:44 officially. And MVP, Gary Gentry. And that's all she wrote. So this is CP Cards and Dice saying, hey, thanks for stopping by, checking us out. Payoff pitch, great little game. Al, Red Sox fan, welcome. Mets are going to improve their record here to 13-9. That's about 6 games better than they had in reality. The Cubs fall to 11-13. Now, the team we have to look out for is the Pittsburgh Pirates. They've been on a roll. They were like 12-3, 13-3, something crazy like that. And Forever sounds good is at the chat. And I have nothing more to say. There's 2 more games against the Cubs. I'll give you some information on the next Cub game. Now, I don't know how many of these I will stream. I definitely want to finish up the series. The next game is going to be a Saturday game, May 3rd. And that looks like it's going to be Nolan Ryan on the mound for the Mets versus Fergie Jenkins. So this is a Bleacher Bums matchup. He's doing the Fergie Jenkins replay that I've been following for what seems like a couple of years. Don't know if or at least a year. And this was one of his early matchups that I watched. Nolan Ryan versus Fergie Jenkins. Game 2, it's a Saturday game. It's a day game, played on grass, May 3rd, Saturday, May 3rd, 1969. Attendance was 23,000 at Wrigley Field. So this is always fun. Now, Rod Gasper plays center field. Tommy Agee, again, maybe woke up a little bit sore, and he's going to be he comes in to play center field later on in the game, but he does not start in this game. J.C. Martin is going to give Jerry Grody a rest. Al Weiss is still playing for Bud Harrelson, who seems is a little bit under the weather because he doesn't show up in this box score either. So we see what Nolan Ryan does for us in the next game. And that's all she wrote, playing the 1969 season using Payoff pitch. All the stats are being kept by the Replay Baseball game. You can pick that up for about $50, and that comes with a season. And after that, the seasons are about $25. So that's all she wrote. So this is CP Cards and Dice. Thanking everybody for stopping by. It's always great to see all the our gamers, our brethren gamers. And this is your home for chat, tutorials, strategy, player profiles, history reviews, news, tips, unboxings, tops baseball cards, and ever so often a rant or two, which I've been known to partake in. And this is 1969. payoff pitch replay of the New York Mets. So thanks for stopping by. And this is CP Cards and Dice saying I'll see you guys later.